Hello, sixth graders. So today we're going to be talking about how to find the area of quadrilaterals, and it should also say and triangles. We're doing quadrilaterals and triangles. I hope you all have a sheet of paper, a pencil, multiplication chart, your star chart especially. You're going to definitely need that, and you should each have a geo board for your group. All right, our objective today is that you will be able to use geoboards to find the area of quadrilaterals and triangles and discuss how to find area with your classmates. Before we get started into finding the area, let's talk about some shape terms. First, over here on the left side is something called parallel. So parallel lines are lines that go in the exact same direction. They will never cross each other. They're going to just keep going in the same direction forever and ever and ever. Perpendicular lines, right here, perpendicular, are lines that make a T, or basically lines that intersect at a 90-degree angle. So each angle right here is 90 degrees, that's 90 degrees, that's 90 degrees, and that's 90 degrees. That's what perpendicular means. All right, so let's talk about what's a quadrilateral. I'm pretty sure we all know what triangles are. We learned about that last week, but let's talk about quadrilaterals. So a quadrilateral is a shape that has four sides. Any shape that has four sides. So if you notice, all of these shapes here all have four sides. These are all going to be defined as quadrilaterals. Though this trapezoid might look a little bit funny, it's still a quadrilateral. So a rectangle has two sides that are parallel. Remember that word? They go in the same direction. This one goes in the same direction as this one goes up here on the top. And then these two go in the same direction as well. Whenever this line, this side right here, comes in and intersects with this side, it makes a 90-degree angle. So I would say that the sides are perpendicular to each other. A square has two sets of parallel sides and two other parallel lines. Okay? The sides once again are perpendicular. They make a 90-degree angle when they come together. The difference between a square and a rectangle is that all the sides in a square are equal lengths. So each side has the same length. And if you didn't know this already, a square is a type of rectangle. So when we're talking about squares, we won't actually talk about squares. We're going to talk about rectangles. But everything we say about rectangles applies also to squares, because a square is a kind of rectangle. Just like Converses are types of shoes and high tops are types of shoes, a square is a type of rectangle. Here I have a trapezoid. A trapezoid only has one set of parallel lines. These two are the top and bottom. This one's on the side. They will eventually cross if you keep on going up further enough. Do we all see that? All right. So let's get to the fun part. Each of your groups should have a geoboard and some rubber bands. What you're going to do with that geoboard and rubber bands, you're going to be making some shapes. So please, we're not playing with this. We're making shapes. As you're making your shape, you can go ahead and pause the video, but let me explain the instructions first. So you're going to use your geoboard to create a rectangle. Use the rubber bands, pull it around the pegs on the geoboard to make a rectangle however big or however small. Then once you make your rectangle, you're going to find the area of that rectangle. All you have to do is count the squares inside the rectangle to find the area. Once you count those squares, you're going to write that right here. For area of rectangle, it's going to be like 7 units squared or 8 units squared, whatever it is for your rectangle. Then you're going to do the same thing and make a trapezoid and a triangle. If you're confused what a trapezoid is, go back to the previous slide or rewind the video so that you can see the shape of a trapezoid. You're going to make that, and then you're going to count. Remember, when you're making your trapezoid and your triangle, you might have half squares that you need to add up. So look very carefully. Don't play this video until you have all of these blanks filled. So now that you found the area of all three shapes using your geoboard, we're going to find the area of all three shapes using our star chart. So make sure you have your star chart and a sheet of paper next to you, okay? So what I need for you to do right now is I need you to make the same rectangle that you made before. Make the same rectangle. Please pause the video if you need to. Okay, now that we've made the same rectangle, we're going to look at our star chart where it says the formula for the area of a rectangle. It should look like this. It should say area equals, or A equals BH. Okay? I want you to go ahead and write that down on your sheet of paper. The reason I'm telling you to write that down, because every time we use our star chart to find the formula, we're going to use this process called FIPS. F-I-P-S. FIPS. F stands for write down the formula. If we're finding the area of a rectangle, we're going to write down the formula. And the formula is area equals BH. or B times H. Okay, so the next thing is identify the parts of your formula. So I wrote here, if you didn't know, that area equals base times height. And I have a little picture here that the base is going to be the bottom and the height is going to be perpendicular for it. So that's from it. So that base goes this way, the height goes straight up. So I'm going to write down what my base is and what my height is. My base, I'm going to say it's 2 units, and my height, I'm going to say is 4. You should look at your geoboard, and all you have to do is count the pegs to count how many spaces go on the bottom. I'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how I got 4. Actually, I'm sorry about that incorrectly. My base is not 2 and my height's 4. I messed those up. I made a mistake there. My base should be 4 and my height would be 2 for my rectangle. All right, so now that I have identified the parts of my formula, I'm now going to plug in the correct numbers. So we said that B equals what? Base equals 4. I'm going to write a 4 underneath. H equals 2. Write a 2 underneath. Bring down my multiplication sign. Bring down my equal sign. Bring down my A. Okay? And now my last step says to S solve. So I'm going to say area equals, what's 4 times 2? It's 8. Okay, so yours might be different. Yours might not be 8. You're going to go ahead and solve yours. All right, now that you've solved yours, is your area on this sheet the same as the area that you got when you did the geoboard? Well, it should be. And if it's not, maybe you need to look back and see if they match up, but it should be the exact same. So now we found the area using the star chart and the geoboard. We're going to do the same thing for a trapezoid and a triangle. Okay, for a trapezoid, first thing I'm going to do, according to Phipps, is F, identify the formula. So if I look at my star chart, it says A equals 1/2, open parentheses, B1 plus B2, close parentheses, H. What does that mean? Well, I wrote right here that it means that area equals 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times height. Here I have a picture. So this is base 1 at the top and base 2 at the bottom. Okay, those are my 2 different bases. They should have 2 different lengths because remember, they look completely different. Okay, my height has to go straight up and down. Sometimes on a trapezoid, this side right here will go straight up and down, or this side will go straight up and down. But if it's diagonal, that is not your height. If this is diagonal, that is not your height. Your height has to go straight up and down. So I'm going to put in the numbers for my trapezoid. You go ahead and put in the numbers for your trapezoid that you created on your geoboard. If you need to make that trapezoid again, go ahead and pause the video and do so. All right, so I filled in my base 1, my base 2, and my height. So I'm doing my identify the parts. My base 1 is 3, my base 2 is 5, my height is 3. So now I'm going to go ahead and plug it in, P, plug it in. So I have A equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. So that's A equals 1/2. Base 1 is 3, base 2 is 5, and height is 3. Notice I wrote the formula, then I plugged it in. I want you to do the exact same thing on your sheet of paper with your numbers, okay? So now I have A equals 1/2. I'm going to go ahead and solve the parentheses first because P is the first thing in PEMDAS. 3 plus 5 is 8, and then times 3. So now I'm going to do 1/2 times 8. Do 2 and 8 have any common factors? Yes, they do. They have common factor of 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply. 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 1 is 1, which gives me 4. So now I have A equals 4 times 3, and then 4 times 3 is 12. So the area of this trapezoid is 12 units squared. I'm going to write units squared. Okay, so if you weren't able to solve your own for your trapezoid, that's okay. As long as you're following along the one that I'm doing, you should be just fine. Make sure you have it written down as well. Let's do a triangle now. All right, now we have a triangle here. So first thing we're going to do for Phipps is F, formula. What's the formula for a triangle? If we go to our star chart, the formula for a triangle is area equals 1/2 BH. What does that mean? It means area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. Here's my base on the bottom. Here's my height going perpendicular to it, straight up and down. My height are not the 2 diagonals. My height goes straight up and down, okay? So go ahead and identify the parts of your formula. What's your base and what's your height on the triangle that you got from your geoboard? We all understand? All right, go ahead and do something. I'm going to put my numbers in. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, for my base, I have 4, and for my height, I have 3. So I'm ready to go ahead and plug in the correct numbers. P. Okay, so I'm going to say area equals 1/2 BH, or area equals 1/2 times 4 times 3. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do 1/2 times 4. 4 as a fraction is 4 over 1. I'm going to ask myself, do 4 and 2 have any common factors? And yes, they do. It is 2, because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now I'm going to keep on solving. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 1 is 1. All right? I'm not going to leave it like that, am I? No, I'm going to change it into a 2. So area equals 2 times 3. And what's 2 times 3, everyone? 6, or 6 units squared. If you were wondering why we're saying units squared, well, if you look on your geoboard, remember they made squares on the inside. That's why we say units squared. How many squares are inside that shape? That's what we're saying. So now that you know how to find the area of a rectangle, a trapezoid, and a triangle, you're going to be doing the same thing on your assignment today. If you need to go back into the video, please do. And you must use FIPS when you're solving for your assignment. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Bye.